So for now, let's go ahead and jump into it. So we are here today to talk to you about AI Copilot. Um, this is very exciting. We've been working on this for a while. A lot of cool new things you can do with it. Zach has some pretty cool stuff to demo for you later. But we're gonna step back and kind of take a look at, well, what is this and why did we build it? Why did we do it? So with that said, I will go ahead and share my slides and walk you through what we're going to do today. Right. Screen disappeared. There we go. Can you see my screen? All right, fantastic. So AI Copilot. Here's the agenda for today. So we're going to spend some time talking about what it is, where you find it, how you use it, how we're seeing people using it already. We rolled this out very recently. It's brand new, still has that new car smell. But what are we seeing? What types of prompts are people using? What types of applications are people already finding for it? And who's it for? How can you access it? Who is allowed to use it? We'll go through some of those details. Then Zach will do a live demo right here on the webinar. And as I said before, any questions you have, don't hold them in, just drop them in the chat as we're going. And then after Zach demos the Copilot for all of you, we'll take a look at what's coming next. Um, so let's see. And Blake will be fielding most of your questions, but sorry, I didn't mean to skip slides. Blake will be fielding most of your questions. So again, feel free, just drop anything in the chat and let us know what's on your mind, what else you'd like to know about what Copilot does, how you can get access to it, how you can talk to us. So with that said, what is Copilot and why did we build it? So in a nutshell, contract review is a pain. Finding things requires a lot of scrolling, a lot of hitting Control and F, or if you're on a Mac, Command and F repeatedly. You have to know exactly how the thing you're looking for is phrased. How is the clause labeled? How is it labeled in this agreement as opposed to that agreement? How is it worded? And it's just a pain to find the specific wording of this specific clause language or this specific defined term in this specific document over and over again. And then once you do find it, you typically have to parse through a lot of dense legalese to figure out, well, what does this even mean for me in the first place? So in a nutshell, that's basically why we built AI Copilot. We wanted to take that pain out of contract review. So you don't need to go digging through documents through a bunch of separate clauses to find what you're looking for. You don't need to keep scrolling. You don't need to keep going ping-ponging back and forth between different parts of a clause that's been broken out into 5 different sections or looking at the defined terms because part of what you need to know is back there. If you want to get the information summarized about, what's going on with force majeure clauses or what's going on with indemnification clauses, or you can just ask that and get a straight answer. And you don't need, and I happen to, have been trained as a lawyer, but you don't need to be a lawyer in order to understand the answer. You want a quick answer about, what are the payment terms in this contract? You can just ask it in plain language. You get a quick, accurate response in plain language. You don't need to interpret it. You can just get an answer about the question you're asking. So in short, Copilot solves the I just want to know fill in the blank problem. I just want to know when we have to pay this vendor's invoices. I just want to know how to cancel this contract. So that's what Copilot is and what it does. Zach, would you like to tell us a little bit about where you find Copilot and how you use it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, um, I mean, it's basically found in our document view currently. So when you go into any document in the system, it's going to be up on the top right. As long as your plan has been enabled with our AI, you're going to see it there. If your plan does not have AI on it yet, please reach out to myself or your CSM, and we'd be more than happy to talk to you about how to get that added to your plan. But it's just going to be in the document view there, and I'll show you here in just a second. I'll demo it for you. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you. All right, I'll move ahead to the next one. So Zach, what are we seeing so far about how people are using Copilot? Some of the most common prompts, most common use cases.
Yeah, a lot of I mean, we've seen a lot of usage already. We just released this, I don't know, what's it been, a week and a half or so ago. And we've been able to see a lot of our customers are using it already. A lot of different prompts happening. People are wanting to know, what the risk is in their contracts, what the payment terms are. Yesterday, I was on a call and a customer asked me to have the AI create a term sheet for them, which I'm going to show you in just a minute, which is pretty cool. So we took like a 60-page contract and we turned that into a term sheet, which just gave us the specifics of the agreement, and then we turned that into a document in Concord. So I mean, you can really do some amazing stuff with it. It's really powerful, and happy to show it to you here in just a second. But yeah, Blake, what have you seen? I know that you've worked with some customers on it as well.
Yeah, I think Cheskino is kind of given some great examples. Like finding out like what is in your contracts, I think is super helpful. Like what sections are this, right? What I like to say is it's helpful for finding like the needle in like the contract haystack a lot of times, because I know a lot of of you customers, or you have like 100-page documents, right? And so it's really helpful to find like, hey, what section is this in? Or even translating things, right? We're really proud, as I was saying earlier, that we have customers all over the world. So translating documents, right? If the language is supported by Gemini, which is the AI tool that we're using for this, then it can accomplish what you're looking for. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what we've seen so far. It's so versatile. Like even last time we ran this webinar, just last week, we translated some clause language. In fact, there's an entire agreement live, right? So, yeah, Zach, I love what you said about just preparing a term sheet based on the contract, right? Yeah, so it's really only limited so far by what are how are you thinking about how you approach your contracts? Like, yes, I touched on finding terms, summarizing terms cleanly and quickly, but it's not limited to just finding information. It can really help you process what's in your documents in a useful, practical way. So, one more question before we jump into the demo portion of the webinar. Who can use Copilot? And Zach, this is for you, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody who has questions about their contract that's a user of Concord, they're going to be able to prompt Copilot to come in and answer those questions for them. I mentioned earlier, it does need to be you do need to have an AI enabled plan with Concord in order to do this. So we're happy to help you if you don't have one of those. But yeah, it's really just for anybody. And the cool thing about this, like Cheskino was talking about earlier, it's going to make the language that it's spitting out, it's not super legalese. Like it's not something where you have to be a lawyer to understand it. I mean, anybody could just go in and read it. It's pretty simple prompts and pretty simple replies. So, it's really designed to work with everyone. Yeah, we'll talk more about that, but yeah, that's the cool thing about it is you don't have to be a lawyer to use it. Anyone can use it.
Fantastic. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. And Zach, feel free to jump into the demo environment.
Absolutely. Yep. Let's jump in here. So let me go ahead and show you how this works. There's a few different use cases for the Copilot depending on if we're uploading contracts that have already been signed or if we're uploading contracts that we need to get reviewed, or even maybe someone's, sent a red line over for your initial contract. So there's a number of different ways you could actually use the Copilot. The first one that I'm going to show you here, let's say that we have a document that's already been signed. I'm going to go ahead and just do a single upload here into the system. I'm going to drag and drop my document into Concord like this. Actually, some of you may not know about this feature because it's actually quite hidden. I don't know if you knew this, but if you have a signed document, you can drag and drop it directly into your inbox, which is pretty cool. And then the system will ask you how you want to manage that document. So I'm going to upload it here as a signed document, and it's going to bring that right into the system. So kind of a
Yeah,
cool feature. You may or may not have known about that, but that is something you can do.
that's a great call out. And you can do more than one document at a time too, to Zach's
Uh,
point. So if you want to drag and drop like 5 files in, you can do it there.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people realize you can do that upload process or the bulk upload through your inbox, but you can. So now I'm in a document view here, typical doc view. I want to talk about a few things that are going to happen with this specifically. So first of all, the way that this works with PDFs, I get a lot of questions about like, how is your AI working when the document is a PDF? Because it could be a scanned image, it could be a text image that, is created on a computer. This one is DocuSigned in this specific case. What we're going to do to create the AI compatible version is we're going to create an OCR version of the document, which is just like a straight text copy. So we're going to take that image, we're going to convert it, and then that's what the AI is able to use to actually drive the results here. So the first thing that we're going to do upon doc upload with the signed document is we're going to do our AI extraction. So we're going to pull out all those key details. This is a feature we released about a year ago. It's been very, very successful, and a lot of our customers just use this every day, and they couldn't imagine the system without it. So that is our AI extraction. We're not demoing that today. We're demoing the Copilot. So the Copilot is basically, there's a few prompts here. So I could come in here and use some of the prompts that we have. You know, what are the risks associated with this agreement, whatever. I can also add any prompts that I want to that as well. So for example, I'm just going to grab a few of my prompts here because I don't want to have to type them out. But as you can see, it just gives me a nice quick assessment of that document. So it's going to give me some back and forth on it. I'm going to ask it, are there any exclusivity, non-compete, or non-solicitation clauses in this document? This is a pretty simple agreement, so I wouldn't expect that to be there. So I just want to show you, if you upload a document that's already been signed, the Copilot works great. You can come in and ask it questions. I do want to jump over to a more complex document so I can show you some other prompting. So I'm just going to jump into this document here. So the other use case is you haven't signed a document yet. Well, there's a lot of use cases. You haven't signed a document yet. You're getting a contract from your outside party, maybe vendor, customer, whatever. You upload that into Concord, and now you want the Copilot to help you assess what's in the document. So maybe you want to, move to a markup review, whatever it might be. So same thing. I can ask it these existing prompts that are already here. Summarize the payment structure and obligation. So it's going to give a quick review. The crazy thing about the Copilot, if you really think about it, this is a pretty big document. It's not tiny, and it's doing it so quickly. Like it is really quick on the review itself. I uploaded like a 70-page contract the other day, and it was pretty much just as snappy as it is right now. So it's pretty quick. Let's ask it a few more prompts here, and this is what we did on the webinar last week. If you have any prompts that you want us to put in here, if there's anything that you're like, hey, I wonder if it could do this, that, or the other, let me know, and we can actually put the prompts in here. Yep. Awesome. Let me throw a few in for myself, and I'm going to show you the really cool one that we discovered yesterday. But let me just ask it about indemnification and liability. So let's go ahead and put that in. So I'm asking, are there any indemnification or liability limitation clauses, and summarize their impact? And so it'll give us those great responses. Here's a really cool one. So this is what we discovered yesterday. I was on the phone with the customer, and they're like, I've got this huge contract, and the way that we work as a business is we get a term sheet for the contract that our executives would review and approve first before we actually move into the contracting process. And so they were wondering if we could actually have the Copilot turn this contract into a term sheet. So let's do that. And last time, the reason I said it's for my executive team is it did ask me like, who's the term sheet for, give me more information about it, things like that. So it is really interactive. It's going to ask you to give it additional information if it's not sure, but it works quite well. And back to how this is actually working, what model we're using, because I know a lot of those questions are probably going to come up. So we are using Gemini 2, which is the latest model from Google. This is their LLM. It is specifically designed to work with contracts, so we do have some prompting that's happening on our side. If I were to ask it, I can just show you like what is the weather like today? That's something you could normally ask a ChatGPT or a Gemini, and normally it would give you an answer to that. But because this is specifically designed for contracts, it's going to let you know that, hey, this is not something that this is designed to do. But one thing I want to show you with that term sheet as well is it wrote up a quick term sheet here. What I can do with this, the actionable item, is I can come in here and I can actually just copy this text like this. I can jump into a new document in Concord. So I'm just going to go new blank doc. And then I could actually just make that term sheet right in the system. So I can take the response that came directly from there. I can, that was a bad way of showing you how to do that. If you actually just click copy once the response is there, you won't have all this formatting. It'll just be straight text. So that was probably not the smoothest way to do that, but let me show you a trick you can use in Concord, which is to take out all the formatting in that section. It's not going to work right now, but anyway, so you can make your term sheet here. You can format it. You can, tweak it however you want to, and then you can share it with the appropriate parties. And then for good Concord hygiene, you could just simply link that back into the contract itself. So for those of you that are using Concord a lot, that would be the right way to do that in the system. So that's just showing you, like, from a prompt, we can take that data and we can then turn that into an actual actionable document, inside of Concord. The other thing that you can do with this is you can have it write you, language. So if I wanted to, I've got my contract. I went into the wrong document. I've got my contract that's here, and then I could actually have that write me a new indemnity clause or limitation of liability or whatever. So let's have it do that. Let me do one more prompt and then I'll have it do that here. Blake, are there any prompts that have come in yet, or any prompts you can think of?
No, we haven't, but it's a good time to kind of invite people to definitely use the chat. If you guys are having like questions, if things aren't like clicking, let us know. Or another invitation, I guess, to go to the chat and let us know. We're the Q&A section. But we hope, we hope it's making sense, right? Um, as you guys, I'm sure, are familiar with, right? We've had the AI data extraction for a long time, so it's reading your contracts, putting stuff in the summary panel. And so the next logical step for us was, okay, we need something that you can interact with. And so, ask it questions and actually learn more in-depth information. So we hope that's coming across today. I see somebody asking for some support, so I'll reach out to you. Thanks for coming in here. Yeah, I won't be able to help you live, but I'll help you there. But anybody else have, I guess, questions, I guess, over the things that Zach has presented, over it doesn't have to be Copilot, right? What he has on his screen. It can be other, Concord AI and things like that. Anybody have any other questions?
So Zach and Blake, while we're waiting to see what other questions people might have, I do have a few that I've written down that have come in from at other times. So one is about handling multiple clauses. So let's say you have a question that really needs you to understand multiple terms at once. So understanding risks across the contract or payment terms, which can include, it can include deadlines, late payment fees, that sort of thing. How does Copilot handle that sort of information that's not limited to just one clause?
Yeah, it'll handle it just like just like it's been showing. It doesn't, as long as it's in the document, it's going to be able to aggregate all that information and pull the response based on that. So I'm going to have it summarize the payment structure and obligations here. And there's another cool thing that I haven't shown you that I'll show you here as well. But yeah, it's going to be able to, it doesn't matter where it's at, doesn't matter if it's in different clauses, it'll pull that up for you for sure.
Very nice.
The other cool thing you can do is you can ask it so, like, I can get a response like this where it's going to show me, like, hey, I've got, these are the fees, the invoices, the expenses, the payment terms, etc. I can now ask it, what section of the contract talks about payment terms. And the way that we were using this yesterday is a customer had a really long contract. They were wondering where the indemnity clause was listed because they weren't able to find it easily. And so we just asked it to, number one, we asked it to review that clause. It gave us a response. And then we asked it, where in the contract, is this language? And then it told us the exact section. So it is great to be able to kind of navigate through the agreement and find what you're looking for easily. And it'll tell you the sections of things and, where things are at. So pretty cool there too.
Nice. That's a huge time saver.
Yep,
Yep,
absolutely.
absolutely. Okay, Zach, we have a question. Does it work for contracts which have been scanned and uploaded? So maybe like, ones that are maybe on paper and then end up in Concord.
Yeah, absolutely. So the great thing about Concord is we have our OCR that's built in. OCR stands for Ocular Character Recognition. That just means we're looking at the image of a document, and then we're going to use that OCR to convert it over to text. So if it's a scanned image, a text PDF, those things are going to work great with our AI extraction and our AI Copilot, the Concord Copilot.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, let's do this. Let's have it translate now, should we? Pretty cool trick.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
What
And we have
language are we feeling today? Should we do French again?
let's do French again. That's always a classic. And then maybe while it's going, I'll have another question for you. And now Cheskino, Zach, I don't know if we're getting ahead of things, but this person's kind of asking about something that kind of gets to the future of kind of what we're building. So we're talking about future renewals. And it's asking like if the AI Copilot will be able to summarize all the upcoming renewal dates for the next quarter, for example, right? Because they're specifically finding issues with deadlines and things. So is this a good time to, I guess, talk about where we're going? Or if not, I can touch on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I can jump in because it might be easier just to show kind of the idea behind that. And I also want to touch on
Okay.
the new calendar view real quick too, so we can do that. So I just translated the contract into French, so as you can see, that works great. I can literally just copy this, paste it in, and that translation will come over there. So it's a pretty cool feature. If you did need to translate something, you definitely could. So let's talk about the future state of this feature and where Concord is headed in the future here. Right now, this is what we call document-specific Copilot, meaning that it just lives on the document level. The idea is in the very near future, I'm not going to give you a date yet, but the very near future, we're going to be enabling the Copilot in your entire database. So you're going to have your Copilot here in your inbox view, you're going to have it in different places. And that'll allow you to actually prompt the Copilot to look through all of your contracts that you have access to. So it is still permissionable, but you can come in here and say, hey, please search for all contracts that have this language in them, or show me all contracts that are renewing in the next quarter, or whatever it might be. So that could help with some of those deadline alerts and reminders. But what it will really help with is just to kind of find certain data points within certain contracts. It'll also help you to report, and you're going to be able to turn the queries into reports in the system. So those are all the types of things that we're building right now. So instead of it just being on the document level itself, we're going to open that up to the entire platform and your entire database, which I think is really, it's great now, and there's some cool stuff it's doing, but I think a lot of the power is being able to interact with all of the contracts that you're currently managing. So that's kind of the next phase of this feature. Speaking about deadline alerts and reminders specifically, I don't know if all of you had time to join the previous webinars we had on our new deadline views. About a month ago now, that could be off, but about a month ago, I think we released our calendar view for deadline alerts and reminders. This is a relatively new feature in Concord. And so what this is basically before we just had that list view where you could come in and just see a list of all of your different deadlines in the system. Now with Concord, you can see a calendar view, so I can see what's coming up, next week, next month, whatever. The other thing that we have is the ability to create custom deadline views. So if you have specific contracts that you are managing that you want to make sure that you never miss, or if you want to build views for certain team members so they can see their contracts, this is where you can actually do that in the system now. So we never had this feature before. You couldn't do custom deadline views. You can now do that. And then the other cool thing is you can actually sync this calendar into your own calendar. So if you're using Outlook Calendar, Google Calendar, or many others, you can subscribe to this to your deadline alerts. And so they're going to show up on your own calendar there without having to come into Concord at all. So we're still going to send you those weekly emails that go out every Monday, but this calendar view is going to show you easily, like on your own calendar or here, what's coming up as well. So hopefully those are a couple things that can help with any of those deadline alerts issues, or if you're just wanting to surface those more and stay on top of them, which I know most people are, this should help with that.
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, this person had a follow-up question, which I'll take here. It says, can we filter by tag on the deadline view? At this current moment, no, that's not an option. But we're bringing, right, the filters that you're familiar with on the inbox view, right, where you can filter by all sorts of things, dates, custom properties, parties, and things like that. We're looking to bring those to the deadline view to make them more robust, right, to make them more helpful and things like that. So yeah, I hear you where you're saying, things aren't super relevant to you, so we are looking to make them more. Absolutely. Yeah. And if you'd like to actually, we'll put it in the chat again, but if you're having these issues, don't suffer in silence, right? Reach out to us at the CS team and the support team here. We're dedicated to helping you. So we'll make sure to put how to contact us again in the chat. You're not paying for our services, right? Or it comes with your subscription, maybe is a better way to say it. So sign up for time on our calendar, send us emails. We're happy to help you guys.
Absolutely.
Right.
I know we're getting a little short on time. I'm gonna stop sharing. I don't know, Cheskina, if you want to talk about what's coming, the
Yep.
last slide there.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and share my slides again. All right. So thank you, Zach. Great demo, and thank you everyone for the questions. Very helpful. It's great to see how you're using the platform, how you're thinking about it, and how you're and just to get feedback about how we can make Copilot even more useful for you. So a couple things. Um, if you want to get started using Copilot, Zach, how should they get in touch with us? Or at least if they want to see it in action and determine whether it's right for them.
Yeah, I mean, I'll put my email address into the chat here. You can honestly, the fastest way to do it is just to reach out to me directly or reach out to Blake. But I'll go ahead and throw my calendar link and my email address here. Feel free to book a time or shoot me a quick email. Um, we're also going to send a follow-up to this, so you will get a follow-up email response of, just kind of letting you book time too if you want to do it that way. But I can just put that here if you want to. We do have this QR code. I think that does the same thing, right? So you can just use that if you want. It takes you to the calendar link, I believe. So
Yeah, it'll take you straight to the forum, so you can just book some time with Zach right now. And yeah, our sales team, our CSMs, they're all fantastic, and as Blake said, they're here to help. So please do not hesitate to get in touch, whether you're an existing customer or thinking about or using Concord for the first time. And with that said, we have about a minute, so let's just take a quick look. We've already talked about some of this, but what is coming next? Zach, can you tell us a little bit about some of these new features?
yeah, and actually, this is already out. So for those of you that are using DocuSign today with Concord, we have completely overhauled our DocuSign integration. It is a world of different from what we had before. So if you ever tried to integrate with DocuSign previously with Concord and had frustrations, I would recommend let's try that again because we completely redid this integration. What this allows you to do is a bi-directional sync, so you can both push and pull documents to and from DocuSign. You can also bulk import documents from DocuSign into Concord. So there's a lot of cool stuff that you can do with that. So that integration is out now, it's available. And then the next thing is what I was talking about earlier, the AI Copilot across the entire platform. Like I said, we don't have a specific date on that, probably within the next few months here, we'll see. Could be a little bit sooner, but that's something that we're working on and something that we're very excited about because I think that really opens up Concord with the AI to just be much more accessible. So we're excited.
Very nice. And of course, we talked about AI Copilot coming to the platform-wide view. So with that said, I think this has been great. Thank you, everyone who joined us. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Blake. This has been very informative. It's really cool to see Copilot in action, to see all the things you can do with it. Please do not hesitate to get in touch with us. Reach out to Zach, or if you're a current customer, feel free to reach out to Blake, reach out to your CSM. Any questions you have, if you want to see a demo, we are always available. So thank you very much, everyone. And we will be sending out a recording of this webinar as well. So if you want to share it with your team, feel free to pass it along and see if they're interested in seeing what Copilot can do for them.